But I haven't made any money yet.
At least got some. Some support. Actually, now I realize.
Yeah. I can't do it. I'm still, I mean, yesterday was my first time.
She always said, like, if we, even though we have the listing, if like another agent wanted to bring a buyer, I mean, there was a way to do it. I don't know why the restriction.
Yeah, it's a good. That would simplify things for me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I could basically, because I think I told you the scenario, like I'm trying to, it's gonna sort of work out a little office, I think eventually.
I mean, it could be where I'm just selling on as, on name only.
Right.
At the broker. Okay. But again, it's got to be disclosed to all the parties.
Right. Okay, I'll talk to them. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's a little, we haven't done one of these coffee scenarios in a while, so we thought we'd give everyone an opportunity. Obviously, we're still in the summertime. Believe it or not, it's still a seasonal business, even in Los Angeles, so it's a little bit lighter. We'll wait another minute or two, and then we'll get started. And this is just simply an opportunity for those that are here and those that are on Zoom to ask questions. Anything and everything is on the table. Really, it's all about the collaborative environment that we're very passionate about, that I'm very passionate about. And, the more we connect people, the more business and growth and life experiences that we have. So it's funny, I just literally introduced 3 people that have offices, down the corridor from one another. And, Max didn't know like the other 3 people, and I just assume everyone knows each other. So I'm always trying to be a connector. And I think all of us, if we take that perspective in life, in this office, in our business, we're going to go a lot further. So don't make assumptions, connect the dots, ask the questions. As I always say, asking for help is a sign of strength. So we'll wait another minute or two, and then we'll just start it off. And then I'm going to share some things with respect to the office and give everyone an opportunity to ask questions.
It's pretty cold in here, isn't it?
Yes, that's what Christine just said.
Yeah.
It warms up quickly when the body starts to come in.
Yeah, waking
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Sam, would you like to have a seat? You're too close to me. Sam. Would you like to have a seat?
No, it's okay.
I didn't hear. I am. That's what he said too.
He said the same?
Yeah.
No. I don't know.
George,
Yes.
I just wanted to share something with you last week. I know that's something that I was in this week.
Yeah.
I found one.
Wow.
2 weeks on the South Carolina.
Wow.
Just had to share that.
Yeah, love it.
Well, what do you just say?
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
You missed it. Thanks.
So how many agents do we have in our office?
How many agent I don't know
Do you know,
exactly. Somewhere.
I think it's definitely over 550.
Maybe.
I see
Yeah.
the roster.
Right. Yeah.
Just because when I send emails out,
Yeah.
that number keeps growing.
Yeah. I mean, it's been,
Yeah.
I think this year, 7 months in.
As you should.
Right.
As you should.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I know people have left.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you know what that number is?
No,
It's not very much, but I see.
no, it's not. But there's backward on the. Oh, by the way.
Something John's like is defaulted.
No.
So that he's gone from rodeo to TE.
Oh,
Really?
That's
Interesting.
Although Sid today on Caravan was telling me he may want to come back. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Another Steve Frankel scenario. Sorry. Right.
John's like, it's on.
No, when Steve Frankel went to Compass and came back, that.
But it's all over the real deal.
Right, interesting. I haven't even tuned in. Yeah. All right, we're gonna get started. And again, this is just an opportunity to provide an open forum to discuss anything, really an opportunity for people to ask questions. I know, I can be very busy. I'm obviously very purposeful, very structured, and sometimes it may be difficult to try to get my attention. So this is an opportunity where you have my undivided attention. So take advantage of it. So I'm going to start off with just a couple base things to get the wheels in motion here with some things that I think are obvious to some and not so obvious to others. It's a big office. We got a lot going on. Once again, I just want to highlight, we've closed we're still waiting on the number. We've closed over probably $1.6+ billion of volume in the last 12 months, which is pretty extraordinary. Once again, the #1 Keller Williams office in profitability, which is really the ultimate measure of a business's success in California out of 105, and number 24, we slipped a few spots, full transparency, in the country out of 826, but that's still pretty amazing. And let's see where we land at the end of the year. So I'm very proud of that, and that's definitely a function of the efforts that all of you guys put in, because it's not me closing the deals, it's you. So congratulations to everyone. Pretty amazing stuff. And it always comes back to a product of the environment, right? I wear it on my wrist. I'm passionate about it. Environment matters. And what does that mean specifically? It means first and foremost, collaboration, connecting the dots. None of us is as smart as all of us. I firmly believe that. That's not just hyperbole. It's reality. It's at least the world that I live in. Authenticity, transparency, humility, diversity. These are all catalysts for growth, right? Asking for help is a sign of strength. So if you're not asking for help and you need help, you're obviously missing a lot of opportunity, right? No one knows it all. None of us are perfect. Being willing to be vulnerable is how we grow. It's how we evolve, right? And we've got amazing talent in this office, amazing experience. So let's leverage it. Let's take advantage of it. Let's bring out the best in everyone. That's truly how we achieve at the highest levels. That's the essence of a top high-performing team and world-class culture. So within that, I want to just highlight a few things. We have an email blast twice a week, right? And some of this may be obvious to some and not to others. That basically goes out to close to 60,000 people that are amongst investors, agents. Basically, it's a great way to market our listings, right? And the business that we're doing. So you guys should be telling that story to your clients. So when they list with you, it's getting basically syndicated and out to 60,000+ people that have a track record of actually helping deals happen, right? Twice a week. And in that email blast, which is one question is everyone getting that? And if you're not, make sure the marketing team knows you're not getting it, right? Every Tuesday and Friday, it goes out. And we actually put on there, we sort of created some new elements of it, is that we are the theme being #1. We're the #1 company in the world in terms of units, volume, and agents. We're the #1, as I just said, Keller Williams office in California. So at the top of that banner, it highlights what we're all #1 in. So we made that change fairly, recently. We're also going to be specifically highlighting what we're considering to be any luxury listings and or deals that are closed, and how we're defining luxury is basically $4.9 million and beyond, right? Because oftentimes you price it under 5, so it's really like 5, but we're including the ones under that. So every new listing that gets taken that's $4.9 million or greater will get its own individual email to that group. Okay, so when the listing is taken and when the listing gets closed, and if you're representing a buyer at $4.9 million or above, that will also get shared with that database. So we're getting very intentional about highlighting, the luxury piece of our business. And we close a ton. We closed probably close to, in the last 12 months, probably at least 50 deals that closed, at, $4.9 million and beyond. So I just want to highlight that and share that with everyone. Our marketing team. We have an amazing marketing team, Justin, Carlos. They're here to help you anything marketing related, anything design related, whether it's a logo, whether it's a design for an email, whether it's a design for a social media piece, whatever it is, they're here to help you. And there is no fee for that. So take advantage of that. Obviously, take advantage of it by being respectful of their time. Don't just, do it for the sake of doing it, but use it to your advantage in your business. That's what they're there to do. That is not typically the case at other, Keller Williams offices, quite frankly. We have an amazing escrow company and escrow business, Cannon Hills. Like, get to know them, give them an opportunity to earn your business. Pay Lay Shirley, we just hired a new assistant, so we're going to get more support on the escrow front. I'm already forgetting her name. She's great. I met her, but you probably haven't met. I forgot her name already, but she'll be starting, I think, in about a week. So we're real excited about that. We have an amazing commercial division. I think some of you know that and some may not. Austin Chen, who most of you know, is our managing director of our commercial division. We have a standing meeting every Tuesday at 9:30 here in person, and everything we do is also offered via Zoom. We're getting more and more people in that, more and more people signed up for KW Commercial. We do a lot of business on the commercial front, a lot. I don't know that I should have the specific numbers, but my educated guess is that, of that 1.6 billion, we probably do 300 million. Yeah, 300 million or more. So probably about 20% of our business is commercial business in this office. So that's pretty significant and a lot of big deals. So Steve Chen just, closed a $23.5 million deal. And there's a lot of that happening all the time, guys. So plug into that commercial piece. Anyone's welcome to that meeting. And if you're interested in learning more about KW Commercial, talk to Austin, talk to myself. Anything else on commercial that I'm missing? You guys have? Justin Jacobson, our productivity director, is amazing. For those that know him, know that. For those that don't, may not yet. He teaches a standing prospecting class every Tuesday at 8:30 via Zoom, right, Alex?
Yeah.
And then he teaches like a skill building class. There's a new topic every time. It's typically marketing or lead gen related every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And that's in person and via Zoom. So, and Justin coaches any experienced agents. So if you're interested in learning more about what that looks like and what that value proposition looks like, let me know. I'm happy to connect you with Justin. You guys can have, a consultation and learn more about what he can do to help you grow your business. Justin's been in the business for probably a couple decades at this point and achieved at a very high level, both as an agent, commercial and residential, and as a leader running brokerages. So he's amazing. And then of course, Kristen, our director of training, who has her own team and is doing really, really well with LA Native, teaches all the contracts and disclosures every Thursday at noon. And she's amazing. She does it at one of the highest levels, if not the highest level out there, period. So even for experienced agents, there's still a lot everyone can learn. So everyone's welcome to plug into that Thursday at noon, again, in person and via Zoom. Michael, anything that you can think of broker related? Just
no, well, if you do want to do commercial and you're not on the commercial side, you've got to team up with a commercial agent. So go to Austin, myself, or Josh first to team you up. And there's also going to be night classes.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
So Ignite is our new agent training program. I always tell people, even experienced agents can get a lot of value from that. It's every Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 2. Jared Medlinski teaches that. He does that really, really well. I think we're maybe like week 4 of 12 right now. I mean, session 4.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
I think
Okay.
that's session 3.
Yep. So that's again, Mondays and Wednesdays, 11 to 2. Anyone is welcome in person and also broadcast via Zoom. And once again, everything we do, it's recorded on our Facebook page. So you can always go back after the fact if you miss it at that time and watch it on the Facebook page. You can only do that though when you're part of the Facebook group. And the only way you can be part of the Facebook group is to have a Facebook account, even if it's blank. So we can then add you to that Facebook account, which is a great communication vehicle for many things, including, of course, the classes. So if you're not on that Facebook group, let us know and we will make sure you're added to that Facebook group.
I think you can also get it from YouTube.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think, what specifically is
We
on
upload them to the YouTube page.
everything?
Yeah, we upload all the Ignites and all these Tuesday meetings. And
Okay.
Justin and Kristen upload those as well.
And once again, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, KWBH Virtual, that's the website that has all of it. It has all of our training calendar with all the Zoom links, as well as several links, including, I'm guessing the YouTube
Yeah,
link is there.
YouTube link there.
So kwbhvirtual.com is basically where you'll be able to navigate everything. Is Carlos around?
Wait, so one thing
Yeah, go ahead.
regarding
Can you ask Carlos?
the KW
Go
BH
ahead.
virtual, anybody that wants checklists, logos, or want to know where the disclosures are for our office, go to that website and it'll link you to our Google Drive where everything is. So that's the place to go. People are always asking where, new agents, where do we get the disclosures? That's
If
where
in
you-
doubt, go to KWBH
Yeah.
Virtual, look around, and then if you still have issues, let us know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but it'll link you to the Google Drive that has everything on it, so.
Yep. There was a reason I was asking for Carlos and I lost my train of thought.
Marketing?
Yeah, something marketing related. Anyway, I'll come back to that. So I'm gonna open it up now to questions about anything. Like, don't be bashful. Nothing's off the table.
So I have one thing.
Yes.
I'll just come up.
Yeah.
So one thing that's come up from a lot of agents, and hopefully nobody in this room, is going to experience it. But if you ever, are the subject of a lawsuit, I wanted to talk about the, E&O insurance, the deductible, what's covered, and all that. So you guys have got a deductible that is $12,500. That means we've got to pay that deductible amount, and you're responsible of it for whatever percentage your split is with the office. So for instance, if there's a settlement and the settlement is $20,000, you're not going to pay more than $12,500 out of that settlement.
That's your cap in essence. Think
That's
about it.
the cap. If there is if it's less than 12,500, it's whatever basically whatever the settlement is, it's your percentage, you're split with the office. So if you're paying 80% and the office is paying 20% on a deal, or you're getting paid 20%, you're only going to be responsible for up to.
You're gonna pay 80% of
settlement.
the settlement, capped at 12,500.
Yeah, capped at that amount. It's confusing. Hopefully no one has to use it,
Yeah, rarely. I mean, I don't know.
we've
We
never
probably had how many?
Yeah.
Maybe
I
two
mean,
or
I haven't
three.
had anything, in the 2 years that I've been doing this.
Yeah,
in the
okay.
office. So,
Yeah.
but instances are coming up where agents are asking, and rightfully so, you want to know how it all plays into effect.
So whatever you pay, whatever the settlement amount is, you pay whatever your split is. If, let's say it's 80-20, you're gonna pay 80% of that cap at 12,500.
Right. So,
Yeah.
it's confusing if you get questions.
Right.
But
I've already forgotten why I was asking for you, but stick around if you don't mind. Well, why don't we, for a minute, I talked about the email blast every twice a week, and I wanted to make sure everyone's on it for starters, because I don't know that everyone is. Which is not, that's not why you're here, but I just want to, what else are you doing? What is marketing doing? I talked about our $4.9 million, highlight going forward. I know we just initiated that. What else are you doing on a regular basis, Carlos, that everyone should be aware of in terms of just marketing and telling stories?
Yeah,
in the
so I mean,
office?
if you guys have any exciting news on social media, always tag us in that so we can add that to our story, just so you guys get exposure that way. So that's like a really simple thing that you guys can really take advantage of, to get agents and everybody just aware of, you guys are doing in terms of real estate.
We're anxious to tell the amazing stories that go on here that honestly, sometimes we have a hard time tracking all of them. We have over 500 agents here. So whatever you guys can do to help us, like, don't be bashful. Like, I did this, I did that. Let Carlos know, let me know. We're the first person to jump off on top of the rooftop and tell that story on my personal social media, on our office's social media. So help us help you, right? I think that's part of my message. Help us help you. Obviously, that's our job, and I think we do it reasonably well, but we're not perfect, and any help we can get from any of you guys will go a long way. I know I asked you to, the website, which I'm almost afraid to bring up because it's been going on forever, and I'm like, we have been working very diligently about upgrading the website significantly. So can you give us, sorry to put you on the spot, a little bit of an update?
We're very close to launching. We're just putting in the final touches. Hopefully within the next week or so, we'll be launching.
So what else? I know we were trying to get, there's something's wrong here. Pictures of people, and some we have good pictures of and others. Can you talk about that for a
Yeah,
little
so
bit?
we sent out an email to you guys a week ago or 2 weeks ago, just asking you guys to fill out a form. In that form, you were asked to submit your headshot. And so ideally, we want the best quality headshot to represent you guys in our office. So that's why we did that. And if you guys don't have a headshot, we have resources where you can get a nice professionally done headshot. So if you need one, just reach out to me.
That's what it was. And I know sometimes everyone communicates to some degree differently. Some people are big on text, email, not email. So we know a lot of things slip through the cracks. So that's why it's important that we try to communicate on multiple platforms. So less things slip through the cracks. Joan.
Yeah, I must say that Carlos did my cards and he did a flyer and he did such a fabulous job. And even, when I email the flyers out, I get these things like, oh, beautiful. The colors, everything is just lovely.
Awesome.
Good job.
Great stuff, Carlos. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine too, same thing. Carlos is amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Anything else, Carlos, that you can think of on that front?
In terms of the website, no. I mean, we're gonna be launching soon, so look out for that.
And what are like some of the highlights of the website relative to what we've had, which I'll be very frank, has been less than par.
So before, what we didn't have was like an agent highlight page. So every agent's gonna have their own page where, if you have a bio, that bio will be there. If you have social media links, those will be there. Any listings that you have active will be shown on that page. Any sold listings will also be on that page.
So all
And
that
this is a
board,
progressive thing that we're gonna be adding in, just because it's so much to work with, but.
so make sure Carlos has all of those things for you,
Is
right?
that part of the command website?
No, it has nothing to do with command.
Nothing to do with it.
This is
Oh.
just our website that gets exposed to the public that you can drive your own clients to, that
Oh,
any of that,
great.
that's, go ahead, Kath.
And I'm assuming, to keep that updated, we need to let Carlos
Abs-
know if we sell something, if we have it
Yeah.
in listing.
And we're asking people to
so
be
that-
proactive. It's a great platform for
Right.
the office as a whole and for you individually to get exposure, right? So help us help you. It's that same theme,
Well, in
right?
terms of the active listings that you guys have, those will be automatic, but that's being done through an IDX. In terms of sold listings, they're able to pull back from 3 months. So if you want, and you have any sold that go back from that, you'll just have to submit those and then we can add those onto your page.
And he's doing a great job.
And we spent a lot of time and energy and money on that website. So we're excited and it's long overdue, but again, give us the information we need so we can all collectively, elevate one another. Cool.
All right.
Thanks, Carlos.
See you guys.
All right. I'm gonna open it up again to some questions.
Hey, Josh,
Yes.
it's Brian. Hey,
Oh, brother.
hey, what's up? Quick question. If we're on a team and we have a listing or a sold, like for us, it's like Melissa and me, let's say, would it go on both of our pages, our personal pages?
Completely up to you guys. So we'll do whatever you want us to do. I don't know that there's it's probably gonna end up being whatever comes through the CDA, right, Alex? Unless we hear from you otherwise. So depending on how you're closing that deal, and every team's unique.
Right.
So it doesn't have to conform to the CDA. So if you don't want it to conform to the CDA, let us know that. We'll do whatever you ask us to do.
Okay.
If that helps. Does that answer? Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, if we don't hear anything, it's just gonna be what comes through, when the deal closes internally in the office. If you want it to be something other than that, we're happy to do that within teams. Just let us know.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Who else? Come on. Anything. God, there's gotta be questions and curiosity out here. Come on.
How many hours do you spend at the gym every week?
I spend, every day, I spend about 45 minutes, believe it, not that much, but very, very consistent, very purposeful. And I see Joan there periodically. Yes,
Yeah, right.
yes, love it.
Hey, Josh, I have a question.
Yes. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Josh. Shout out to my Persian peeps over there. I am not yet, I am joining this meeting as somebody who's not yet a part of this company. But you know, I'd like to be, and I just have a few questions here. I mean, it's great to know that there's a ton of support for all agents in the office, an opportunity to master the workflow. But you know, given the amount of agents at the company, I'm curious as to how we could make sure the newer agents starting out are not going to, let's say, lose opportunity to the more experienced agents, or you know, those working at a higher level.
Great question. So there's a couple layers to that, and I'll hopefully address what you're asking. First of all, I'll be the first to tell you it's a big office, and big does not necessarily mean less support or less intimacy. But with that said, because I personally own 4 offices, and I would argue that this is the most collaborative and far and away the biggest of all of them. And I'm proud of my other ones, but you know, I think this is the best one, quite frankly. Although I'm not going to say that to them directly, but if they ask me, I'd be honest about it. You got to take initiative. I tell everyone that. I probably told you that, Tara, when I met you. Like, no one's going to go find you, and you know, if out of sight, out of mind. I'm just going to be really honest. Like, it's a big office. I'm not going to go chase people down. But what I will tell you is what distinguishes this office is, and I hope this is the case, and I'll let other people give their honest feedback. When you knock, so to speak, figuratively and literally, we will answer in spades. Like, if you plug in and you engage, it will be reciprocated. Much more here than I think you're going to find anywhere else. But it's imperative upon you to take initiative, engage, and plug in. And when you do, you'll do really well. The relationships, the amount of support we give each other is awesome. But if you're not around, no one's going to come knock on your door and find you or call you on the phone. You know, even though once in a while I even said to Alex, we haven't seen, you know, we were just talking, I haven't seen these people in a while. Please give them a call. But typically that, I'm not going to say that's an expectation. You got to plug in. And when you plug in, you'll do really, really well. There's tremendous support. We've got a great mentor program, a great new agent training program, and people are genuinely here to help. But you got to plug in, you got to engage, and that's on you. And you're never going to do well in this business if you don't take initiative. Nothing's going to fall in your lap in anything. I mean, that's just how I live my life and how I would coach anyone. So did that help, or feel free to dig deeper if I didn't address what you were asking?
No, definitely. I think you actually answered my other questions with your answer. So I think I'm set there. I'm trying to think if
I hear that a lot. We're a huge office. I'm going to get lost and whatever. You'll get lost if you choose to get lost, you know, and if you choose not to get lost, you won't get lost. That's totally in your hands. Like, I'm just going to be blunt about it, you know?
I mean, just showing up for team sessions.
Yeah.
You know,
There's so much opportunity
one
here.
week is good.
There's so much opportunity. There's so much on the calendar. You just got to plug in if you choose to, right? Everyone's an independent contractor, right? Nothing's mandated. As a leader, I'm not interested, even if I could tell people what to do. Like, I want them to self-discover what's best for them and try to provide an environment and a platform that allows anyone to achieve at the highest level they're committed to achieving it. And we provide all of that. I feel very passionate about that, but you got to plug in, you got to take initiative, you got to engage, and then you got to take what you learn and put it into action. And it's a process. None of it happens overnight. There's no magic bullet anywhere. But I do believe environment matters when you're plugged into the environment. All things being equal, you plug in here and you equally plug in somewhere else. I think this is the best place to be. I think you're going to get a greater return on your effort and your time here than anywhere else, whether it's another KW office or a completely another independent brokerage, you know, any other brokerage. I feel very confident in that. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
Excellent. Great. Thank you for that.
Of course. Thanks for having the courage to ask, especially being new. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Fire what I just said when I'm talking to you, because you're the one asking the questions and you're here. Who else? Anyone? Come on.
So Josh, if say the house needs some work, can the seller borrow a loan from KW or somebody and, you know, do a fix it up and, you know, sell it for more higher price? How does that work?
Can I turn to you? Rod's on our ALC. Rod Watson has a great successful team here, and I'm turning to Rod because he's used the service and we've had a couple iterations of it. Honestly, we've made some choices that turned out to not be the most favorable, and we've adapted and evolved. And I think we're in a good place now, but we're always striving to improve. So yes, we have a program called Renew, and we've partnered with a company called Revive. I know it's a little confusing, but just think about Renew, forget about the name. Rod, do you want to give us a little bit of your experience there?
Yeah, when we first started, we actually worked with
Right. Go closer to the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we first started, this was new for us, like first time out of the gates, this was like last year, I want to say around December, maybe I even take that back, October, when we first kind of made the contact with Renew, learned about the program. And then I had just so happened to have a referral from a client and she had a listing that didn't sell. And so I met with her and said, hey, look, you know, rather than bringing the property back to the market at the same price, you got two options. You can reduce the price and stay with the same agent that you're with, or you can take a look at this, you know, program. And it's my first time actually using it, but let's see if it can help you. And we went through the details. And so basically what we ended up doing is identifying the value add areas in our home that she needed to update, which was the kitchen, the bathrooms. And then we did a lot of fixtures and texture and things of that nature and paint. About $100,000 worth of work. So the way the program worked is they bring in the vendors. And then of course, the seller gets to decide who they want to work with. These are insured vendors, and whether that's contractors or stagers, et cetera. And then from there, we just outline the scope of work and the cost. And then once that work is done and complete, then at the close of escrow, once the property closed, they, meaning Renew or at that time it was Renew, they basically get their money, and then of course the seller gets the difference in the net. Property closes, everybody's happy. We had a good experience. I mean, it was a little bumpy in the beginning on the communication side, but once we got that outline, it was a great experience overall. She was happy. She sold her property for about $250,000 more than what she was able to get by using the program. And of course, she ended up netting. Originally, she was going to net like $889 somewhere along there, and she wound up netting it was like $250,000. So it was a big
After paying
difference.
the cost or before paying the cost?
After paying the cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Where,
it's,
how do you reach Renew? Where?
it's all in that
Yeah, we have a package.
kwbhvirtual.com, and the marketing team has marketing collateral for it, all of it.
Yeah, and I would say this, you know, obviously this summer we were in a super hot market. So as you guys know, shit, homes were flying off the shelf. And they could be like dumps damn near falling down, and everybody's, you know, paying 50, 60, 100 grand over asking. But as we are in a market like we are now, where things are kind of still unskeptical and it's changing, I think it could be, I know for a fact, it could be a great tool to approach sellers whose properties haven't sold or have been sitting on the market, and, you know, maybe there's some communication there about how can I provide value to them, what's going to separate me from other agents. And for me, being a newer agent, I've only been in LA 4 years, so Brentwood is a power agent market. And for me to be able to go in there and talk with her, when she's already speaking with several other, she had a property listed with the #1 agent in Brentwood. And, you know, for me to go in and talk to her, I was like, well, what value can I offer her? You know, she's got the top agent speaking to her, and I leaned on this particular, you know, service, or should I say I leveraged it. And for especially newer agents in the company, it's a great tool to leverage to help you grow your business in the listing space, because that's how you're going to make money in this business.
And I'll also say thank you, Rob. That was awesome. Even if we never, just offering it as an option is value in and of itself, and may help you get the listing, even if they don't even use the service. So having that in your tool belt is tremendous value.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a.
Oh, 1 second. Let Hosh finish for a second, then George, I'll come to you. Thanks,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I guess might be a little interest charge, right, for the money that borrow?
So basically, go Rod, you want to speak to that?
So the way the Renews was set up was basically straight up. I had to kind of dig for this information.
Yeah, and Rod digs.
That was the part I was disappointed about, because I'm like, they didn't communicate that up front to the client. There's about anywhere from about a 10 to 15% markup. In regards to vendor services, so like contractors, right?
Right, no interest, but there's a
interest,
markup.
It's just a markup on the services that are provided. So example, the contractors that are going to come in and give those bids on that job for the work that needs to be done, whether you're remodeling the kitchen, the bathrooms, the flooring, there's about a 15 to 20% markup in there. Okay. And so this is on the low side, 10%. And I had to like confront the owner of the company, like, you should be disclosing this, you know? And he kind of didn't agree, but the bottom line is we came to an understanding about it. And I just said the proper thing to do is to let the clients know, because when they have questions, you shouldn't be vague about it. You should just be upfront and answer the questions. So, and I said, you have to understand, this is our clients, this is our business, this is a reflection on us. So if the client's pissed off, they're pissed off at me. And I actually lost a listing. I had 3 listings starting out with this program, and I lost one of them because one of the clients got pissed off. And me and Josh had a conversation, we dealt with it, and that's how we ended up switching to Revive. just because transparency is important in this business.
That was a former vendor we were using, so, yeah.
Former. And I'm not trying to knock them, I'm just saying that was one of the issues we had.
So I'm not confused. Revive now, they have a markup or they don't?
Well, Revive does and Renew both. They both have some form of markup because you gotta realize they're working on an agreement with the contractors and the vendors that they're working with because they're keeping them busy with work by referring them to, or when we refer our clients to them, they're referring those vendors to our clients.
So Revive makes their margin a little bit off volume, right? So the markup's a lot less. And it's probably, I don't know the exact number. I'm not gonna try to claim.
I say it's just off a range on the scope of homes that we're working in with the quality of work, when you like your homes, you're like 3, 5, 2, million and up, you're gonna probably see anywhere from 10 to 20, depending on the materials and the cost of the job. But I think it's important to just have that conversation with Revive, whatever scope of work that they're doing, and really identify that so it can be communicated to your client.
And look, at the end of the day, you're not gonna do it unless there's a favorable ROI. So if there's a little bit of cost to do that, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put in 100,000, I'm gonna pay 120,000 for it, and I'm gonna get $250,000 more. Come on,
Well,
who's not doing that
the
deal?
other
To
side
some
of it-
degree, it's just a convenience for the client. They
It
need
is.
someone to move quickly.
It
is.
They pay for that and they understand it and our
Correct.
clients.
As long as there's transparency, which is Rod's whole
The other
point.
thing
you know?
too is that I did for all 3 of my clients is we brought in other contractors. And funny enough, the other contractors that we brought in were all still higher than the bids that were given by Renew at the time.
Rod, what was the experience with the contractor as far as?
He was great.
Efficiency?
He was
and-
great. He was great. His name is David and he did an excellent job. My client was happy. He was easy to work with. He was easy to
They
communicate
were on
with.
time?
Yes.
And that's rare.
Yeah. He was
This
good.
is rare.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
so rare.
Yeah, I
Once dealt with a
that's good.
I
contractor.
dealt with the complete opposite. And that's the beauty of the
Yes.
program too, is that the client doesn't have to do all the hand holding. They'll deal with it and communicate with the vendors. Of course, the client gets to say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. But the concierge service, they actually communicate. They bring in kind of like a middle person that communicates with me and the client and then the vendors, if that makes sense.
And some other companies, not to be named, that Rod was formerly part of, they basically say, go figure it out on your own.
It's like getting a credit card. It's like, hey, here's a
Yeah.
credit card, here's however much amount of money you qualify for. It's on you to work all that out between vendors and et cetera.
That's a lot of work, perhaps,
What about the risk? What about the risk? If something goes wrong, if the house doesn't sell, so if the house doesn't sell, how you?
So you have 1 year for the home to sell first and foremost.
Okay.
And I think as agents, it's important when you're sitting down, one of the things I really convey to my clients, we're not gonna spend more money than we need to. So you kind of have to really understand that side of when it comes to the scope of work, what those returns could potentially be, and also where you need to price the home in order for the property to sell. So I think that's on you as the agent to, communicate that with your client and be able to understand going in how much money really needs to be spent and in what areas of the home. And then on top of that, what do you need to strategically price the property for to sell? So example, we priced the property about 60 grand less than what it needed to be. And we ended up getting the offer about 60,000 over list price. So technically I said, look, it's a $2.1 million house. Let's price it at about $2,050,000. And we did, and it sold for $2.1 million.
So if they don't, they have a year, and then if they don't sell it, it does turn into an interest-bearing, I think, loan
Well,
at that point.
it actually, they either turns to interest or depending on what they agree on, they have to pay that money at that point in time, once that year is up. And also, if they decide to cancel the listing, then they have to pay the money. That's all.
And the listing agreement has to be a year. Did we determine that on this?
Yeah, no, we didn't
Yes.
talk about that yet, but that's true. So it also
Yes.
locks you into the listing for a
Yes.
longer period of time.
Yes, and they can't work with anyone else.
Yeah.
Meaning they can't fire you and go hire someone else to come in and.
So it locks
if
you
they
in.
do that, they have to pay the money first
Yeah.
before they can.
That's good.
It's good protection for you guys.
And
Yeah.
all of yours sold quickly.
Yeah, I mean, all of them sold less than 10 days on the
So
market.
you guys are gonna need a conversation when the person says, hey, it's a hot market, you're doing all this stuff, why do you need a year listing? You gotta be ready to respond to that. That's what the program is. Our intention is to sell it immediately. We don't get paid to get sold. So be ready for that, because it's gonna pop up.
Yeah. It's all, as Roberts, it's all about objection handling, guys. That's the name of the game in this business, right? So be smart, be informed. So when you're dealing with objections, you can answer them, honestly and with confidence and conviction.
Josh, do
no.
they take any type of lien position, or how does it work? Or like, is there an encumbrance against the house, or is it just traditional loan, or what's the deal? And I guess, I'm not sure who was speaking before, maybe to their point, I guess if you wanted to compare how often or how long a client would have to pay a contractor to get work done versus having an entire year to do it, that could be one of the negotiating points for perhaps going with the service. But I was curious about that, because is it a traditional like mechanics liens if they don't pay back, or how does that work?
Or do you want
Yeah, so they actually do take a lien against the property based upon the whatever amount of money that they're spending, you know. So in one of my clients' case, hers was $100,000. So they did take a lien out against her property during that period of time until the work is done for that 12-month period of time.
Yep, and it's all based on the equity in the home. That's also
Yeah,
what the budget's based upon. So there's got to be sufficient equity in the home to even do the program. So that's important to recognize
Yeah,
as
the
well.
number is 20% or more.
Yeah.
So
Manaz.
I actually met with the owner randomly down in Orange County, and they are a real estate concierge company. It's not just contracting.
Correct.
So they
Oh,
have
yeah.
appraisals in-house because they're partnering up with the owner when they're
Yeah.
doing this service. So even if you want to list the property higher, I believe they have something to say about like how much the value after repair has to be, or how much the listing price has to be, because they can't just leave it up to the owner.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're very involved. They're
Yeah.
sharp. I mean, we vetted, quite frankly, I have a lot of experience now because I've been through several iterations of this. And I hope I'm getting smarter and better as we go. So I think this
Yeah,
company that we're now partnering, again, just so we're clear, we've branded it internally with Keller Williams Beverly Hills as Renew. That's our brand. Revive, coincidentally, so they're very similar, but that's coincidence, happens to be the company that is our concierge partner. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
only need to remember Renew.
Right, all we need to remember is Renew, but if you hear Revive, that's the partner, right? Yes, Renew is basically our brand for Keller Williams Beverly Hills for our concierge program, correct?
Would they be willing to do a presentation? Would that be beneficial?
And we've done them in the past, but it's been a while, I think it's a great
Okay.
idea. Absolutely, yep, yep, thanks, Rod, you're awesome, man.
Thank you.
George, you were gonna try to ask me something, thanks, I didn't forget.
Oh, actually, somebody else actually answered my question. It's just because I'm actually doing I'm on the process of doing with Revive right now for my own property, and I'm listing my own property. So I have to take it out of the market and fix it what I have to fix. And my only question was that if it is a mechanic liens or that loan it is on a person's name, or is it going to affect their credit score or something like that. So that was my only question, but it is a mechanic liens. Thank you.
Got it, George.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
Can it be done if the person has a reverse mortgage? Can you use that?
Yeah.
Reverse mortgage?
I would think so.
Yeah.
If they have equity.
Yeah, if they have equity, I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They usually do because they lend only 65%.
I don't know, we have to ask the lender.
yeah.
Oh, we got to right there.
I would think so. I can confirm. Yeah, yeah.
Well, reverse mortgage is just a mortgage against the property anyway, and you have an amount, you just borrow against it with a little. So you can add equity to that, because equity you can do it. Once they sell, they sell.
Yeah, I would agree. Yep.
Okay, makes sense.
All right. Other questions on anything in the audience or on Zoom? Come on. Nothing?
Was this speech this morning?
Oh, yeah. I got caught the bits and pieces. Alex, I actually was gonna call on Alex a little bit.
Alex, what do you think?
Alex.
Is there insight economically or?
There was, I think there might be a recording that I can download and share.
Today is mega camp and tomorrow, so it's been via Zoom. So, but do you want to share a little bit, like even a couple of, forget about the economics, but just a couple of examples of, because, you know, obviously they interviewed some top agents sharing some of their best practices.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the ones that they talked about was golden letters, which was targeting neighborhoods where homes had sold in the last 3 to 10 years. And she said that she got better results with medium price homes. And that to set herself aside, she always hand signed everything, and then it went in a bright red envelope, and she said that every time she sent out about 100, she'd get about 2 calls.
So tell us what the message is, the letter.
She said it was just a really short message that she actually has a client that is looking for a home like yours in your neighborhood. If you would ever consider selling or thinking about selling, please give me a call, and then she would just hand sign it and send it out, and she would do those every week.
I think to that point, and I've been saying this on multiple occasions, you know, we talk about low inventory, everyone's talking about that, you know, it's starting to pick up a little bit. It's often just also perception in a lot of ways. Create inventory. A lot of people don't recognize how much equity, especially in the world we're living in now, that they have in their home. And what we know, we assume that everyone else knows, which is not at all the case. So literally, whether it's a note, whether it's knocking on doors, you know, hey, do you know what your home is worth? You may be pleasantly surprised. I just sold this home, and even, or my colleague did, you know, down the road at blah, blah, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, really? Okay, well, maybe I'm interested in selling if I know it's worth this much. So same message in that letter, same message. You could be door knocking, you could be cold calling, whatever that is, create inventory. Like I had this conversation with my coach like a year ago, right when the pandemic started, and he was like, you know, he had some top agents that were knocking on doors, basically saying, hey, are you familiar? Do you know what your home is worth? Do you realize I just sold this home down the street and I got this and this for it? And they're like, really? Wow. You know, especially with the appreciation that we're seeing all over the place. I encourage you, there's many ways to do that message, but get out there and create inventory yourself, right? The name of the game in our business is listings as well. So always trying to be extremely purposeful, as we've been doing here. And we've had this ongoing series on how to lead generate for listings. There's many ways to lead generate for listings. One of the easiest ones is exactly what I said, in any form, knocking on doors, literally, figuratively, putting mailers out there on, hey, you may be pleasantly surprised on what your home is worth. Let me show you. Right? Coming from contribution, everyone wants to know what their home is worth, right? And they don't necessarily know that. So go out and do it. Alex, was there anything else like from?
That was like one of the main takeaways. I'm gonna look to see if there's the recording from this morning that I can download those.
Okay. And the other thing I'm going to say, and I've talked about, I'm a broken record, but repetition is very important. And Robert brought this up in one of our power sessions like a week or two ago. Be purposeful in whatever you do. Like go all in or don't do, you know, all in or not at all in my world, right? And if people who do things at the highest levels, you can't do it all. Pick your lane and go all in. Be purposeful in everything you do. Specifically, I'm going to get into specifics. When you go to an open house, what is your goal? It'd be amazing to hear, if I went around to everyone, how many different answers we'd hear. Okay. And Robert brought out such a great point. When he goes to an open house, his goal, and I think it's a goal everyone should have, is to get 2 appointments before he leaves that open house. Right. And do you want to elaborate on that? Because I think that really it resonated to me. And when you're purposeful before he does that, and you go into any appointment, whether it's an open house or anything, and you have a specific goal, because I can tell you when I go into a meeting, I am very clear on my goals for that meeting. And it's unique to each meeting, like depends on who my audience is. But I go in with a specific measurable goal. And when you're purposeful, you'll get far more out of that experience than when you're just sort of going in and I'm going to be nice. Now that'll get you far, but you know, when you're purposeful, you'll get much further. Go ahead, Robert, please.
Sunday, I got a call coincidentally from an agent saying, I just listed a $2.5 million house. How are your open houses going? And I just let them talk. They were RE/MAX, and they said, I only got 1 buyer so far for the house. And I just let her keep talking. She goes, I had 3 neighbors, and only 1 buyer. I thought, there was 3 listing appointments, and you missed. I didn't go and try to coach RE/MAX, but clearly, I thought that was a thing of the past. It's still going on where we're trying to sell the house. The house will generally sell itself. The buyers will come in. You go into a buyer conversation, but the majority are testing you. They're watching you. The real, true mega agents that have 30 million in commissions a year are giving classes on this too. If you're at a house to get a listing, and if you don't got that in your mindset right now, it should be there. You're there to get listings. So on my team, everyone has a goal to get 2 appointments while you're at the open house. Not that I had a new agent at open house a year ago. He goes, I got an appointment, Robert. I said, why? I'm calling them tomorrow at 10. I said, that's not an appointment. An appointment is you set the appointment right now on the spot while you're face to face, which is easy. And then you either go into their house or you're showing them something. You're listing or you're going to close another deal. So we just set 2 appointments. If you do better than that, great.
But go in,
Sunday,
even if you fall
I
short,
set 3
you go into an open house saying, I am walking away from this with a minimum of 2 appointments. It's gonna change your behavior. It's gonna change
You're also
everything you
gonna
do.
walk out of the open house going, that one oozed through my fingers. You can start to feel them. You knew they were a listing, but you let it ooze through your fingers. You can feel it. And sometimes people say, how was your weekend? And I'm thinking about the 1 or 2 that oozed through my fingers. I might have got 3 appointments, but the ones that ooze through. I think today we just took 3 listings today, just signing up.
Alex, what happened today? What happened with me today?
With your appointment,
When we left the office?
we went to go get a recruiting appointment, and Josh wasn't leaving until he got the appointment.
2 of the agents open house, all right? And I got the appointment right there, right? That's it. I mean, you gotta do what it takes and make it happen, right? I'm very purposeful. I went to her open house. I knew she had the open house. We chatted when she got through other people, and I literally sat there, right, while she's taking calls, not leaving until I got the appointment, right? So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff it takes to make, and this is a very big producer and, you know, someone I have a relationship with. And so I'm just saying, be purposeful, guys. Have a goal when you go into
There were
anything.
people at the open house, when I tried to set an appointment, they're going, no. The husband said, you need to talk to my wife, almost joking, like blowing me off. His wife happened to came into the open house. His wife said to me 4 or 5 times, why don't you come to our house? And the husband's like still kind of, then I went there, wonderful place, piece of art, beyond. But wonderful people too. So you also get a new friend at these appointments. You build a rapport.
And it's gonna get, look, guys, it's gonna get uncomfortable at times.
I left at
Persistence
9:30
is,
PM.
yeah.
By the way.
Persistence is not always easy. It comes more naturally to others than some. It's gonna get uncomfortable at times. You're not always gonna get it right, but, and you're not, it's gonna rub people the wrong way once in a while. But if you throw some humor in and you genuinely care, the right people will respect and appreciate that, right? And the wrong people, you're never gonna please everyone, so don't try.
And the data shows
You know?
that they're talking with you because they trust you. That's the #1 on research. They're not talking with you if you're the top 1 person out there. That's 10%. Research says if you're #1, you get things 10% of the time, but if they trust you, it's like 60–70% of the time. So lean into that unique trust that you can build. And when people trust you, they'll go anywhere with you. We want that trusted advisor. We want someone who's not BSing. So come across with truth, and they can feel it, and they can definitely feel it. You can feel the energy. They want you to come to their house.
And they want someone who's persistent. They want someone that's going to fight for them. And I just thought, as Robert's saying that, he's always great at this. And I look at Tara, who's I'm looking on the screen, who asked me about the new agents. The people that are getting the business are the first people that get in front of a client that earns their trust. That does not necessarily mean the top agent, doesn't mean the most productive. It means the first person that gets in front of them that earns their trust, which every single person here and there has that opportunity. It's not the most productive. It's not the most experienced. It's the first that earns their trust. Don't overcomplicate it. Who else? Question. Thanks, Robert.
They can do that with the residential and duplex, triplex, anything, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, the Renew Pro. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool, yeah. All right,
Yep.
cool. That's good.
Come on, anybody?
I'll ask a question.
Go ahead. Hush.
Please go.
Oh, May, go ahead.
One of the things I always preach to my staff when I have like 20, 30 loan officer work for me is you gotta love what you're doing, okay? So if you don't love it, you're not gonna be successful at it. You gotta believe in it. It's like if you're selling Mercedes, because for the Mercedes dealer, don't drive a Honda.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, right?
Yep.
Anything you love to do, you'll be successful at it because you believe in it. Like I love what I do because I'm always helping people get their home, whether it's $100,000 loan or a $5 million loan, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're all gonna be happy. But the first thing I always tell my staff is like, don't look at the dollar amount. That's the last thing you need to look at.
Yeah.
The money will come if you're doing what you love to do, and like you said.
And you're passionate about it.
have to
People
trust
sense
you,
that.
People have to love you, and I may not always have the best interest rate, I may not have the, but I'm passionate about what I do and I love it. To the point like, I'm in the morning, 8 o'clock, and I go to sleep at 10, and I'm still on the computer all day long. Not because, what did I, and every day I go back and say, how many applications did I take, how many closing I'm doing, all that stuff going on in my mind. But the main thing is, we love what we do. People will love to sell their homes to, through you, if they trust you.
Yeah.
if they like
And you add value, guys. It's real simple. When you add value and you create value for other people,
Put the money
the rest takes care of
aside.
itself. Exactly.
And if
Yep.
you guys need a creative lender, there's May.
Yep.
She's done deals for me that other people could do.
Yep. Thank you, May. Posh, were you gonna?
I forgot.
It's all right.
All right, I know the answer for this question, but I just need your advice to say that. So there's a house, I told the seller, okay, I will list it. He told me, I can use Redfin because they charge about 2% or 1%. I know the Redfin agents are on salary, I'm not worried about them. So what should I say on this kind of situation?
There's a lot
You
of
get
things
what
you
you
could
pay
say.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Go ahead, Robert. You want, or Kathy? Go ahead, and I can also chime in.
Let Kathy go. You guys can hear me. Kathy.
So basically, I mean, I would share with you my experience with Redfin, and that is when you call, you don't get immediate answer, you're tossed from one agent to the other. Let the seller know that you may sign with one person, but that may be the last time you're gonna see them. They have showing people, each department is different, which is, I guess, in a streamlining situation, it works for them. But as a seller, you're not dealing with one person, you're dealing with a huge corporation and.
With no accountability and no incentive for
No.
one person. I mean, just common sense, like if you, it's business life is about aligning incentives, right? So, and price only matters, as I always say, in the absence of value. What is the incentive for that one person, as Kathy said, shift to this, to that, to that, because no one's actually got a real incentive to make sure that deal gets done, right? Who's going to help you sell that home most quickly at the highest dollar value, right? Look at people's track records, right? Look at their track record. So these are the kinds of things, to Kathy's point, that are going to really distinguish value, especially in a luxury type of market where it takes real skill, it takes a network, it takes marketing, resources, it takes a track record, it takes a database to get things done. Relationships, right? That's it, relationships.
So what
Bingo.
you need to do immediately is call him up, reappear at his doorstep immediately. You do, before he signs with someone. Someone that used to work at
Speed.
Redfin
Go ahead.
worked on my team. And they certainly don't have the motivation. They handle 30, 40, 50 clients at the same time. Each of the Redfin agents do. And they get a little small slice. Their motivation, as Kathy was hinting, it's just not there compared to your motivation. Currently, if you want to use some of my data, you certainly can, you can say your office. I have 3 realtors that have listed with me, and some of them are significantly big realtors. Why do they list with us, Keller Williams? Because we get higher prices for our clients. You're going to net a lot more. Obviously, I'm netting more than the commission these realtors are saving. And I shouldn't say this, I won't say it. There's been at least 50 realtors in the last few years that chose me to sell their house. So if realtors are doing this, it's easy to beat Redfin. It should be an easy conversation. But what I'm getting at is mostly get back there quickly.
Yeah, and it's about how much they net. It's not like, okay, if I spend a little bit more, but I get a lot more. And it's that whole premise of value, not about, price.
There are realtors that will do it for $500. There's ones that claim they'll do it for free.
Also,
And the net end of that is a big difference.
Yeah.
have them give a try when the listing is with Redfin versus if they're asking for Redfin to show a property. If they're going to be representing the buyer, there are going to be immediate 2-3 phone calls from Redfin, not the listing agent, but as an agent who's going to be representing the buyer. But when you're calling on the listing, if the Redfin has the listing, you check and see how long it will take for them to get back to you.
Now,
It's amazing.
You can also go to other tools. You can say, hey, look, we are the only company out there.
Different agents, the phone calls goes to customer service and it transfers for the agent, right?
Yeah. There's
But,
no,
but you can go many other steps. You can say, look, we're the largest real estate company in the world. We are the only company in the world in real estate that has a disruptive loan. What do I mean by this? Well, any buyer that comes into your house can use this disruptive loan, which it's low interest rate, no fees, cash back at the end. And I've got 3 listings simply for that. I had that conversation. Now, for the seller, what's the benefit? The buyer who may not qualify because he's putting money into his loan can put it into the purchase of the house on the down payment. So you have more buyers that will qualify. In theory, it will sell quicker and at a higher price. And no one else has that. Now, we have our favorite lenders, not to be confused with disruptive loan. We have May, she's our favorite lender. And if they need someone to talk to dance, May can certainly dance. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, May is also.
But you use this conversation to show a unique tool that only we have. No one else has it. There are rumors that Redfin's trying to test this on the East Coast, and I haven't heard any follow-up to that. But here's a tool that only you have, and that's going to give them a higher value and a higher sales price.
Yep.
Also check the reviews.
Yep.
Okay.
What else? With a few more minutes here, any other questions, any other comments? Pam?
Did Robert say disruptive loan? Is that what he said?
Yes.
I'm using disruptive so we don't confuse it with May, because every realtor is selling to somebody. I am a great lender, and that's one of the lenders in the office. And if you just say I got a great lender or something that's different, it's not going to be black and white. Disruptive is my own term, which it is disruptive, and that's what Gary wanted to do. Have something that disrupts the market. We as an office aren't using it as the tool that it is. And 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when I came back from the conventions and screamed it out like a crazy man, several years later, and I remember who was in the room for some strange reason. Someone came up to me and said, why is my team pushing that? I said, you were there. Why aren't you pushing it? I explained it to you. So it's a tool. It's powerful if you use it. It's useless if you don't use it. We have it. If Compass had it, they'd be screaming. We'd be going, ah! So guys, do it to everyone else. You don't have to. I've never actually myself gone through the loan, but it's certainly got me 3 listings.
Yeah, and several people here have, like Kevin has, Austin
Yes.
has, right?
People
Kevin
have done it successfully.
Yeah, yeah.
I've used May more than I've used the loan, but I've used the loan to get listings.
Yeah. Pam, sorry, I knew.
I just had a comment to make with regard to getting listings and pricing them. A lot of times, the prospective seller is focused on how much you can sell the property for, how much you can sell the property for. The broker told me, the one that brought me into the business a long time ago, she said to me, focus the client on the bottom line.
Yep.
And that ask them, how much do you want to make? How much do you want to walk away with?
Yep.
And oftentimes it takes them away from, trying to sell it for a price too high. And it focuses them on what they're going to walk away with. And it also, a lot of times leaves room because what they walk away with, you probably sell it for more and then walk away with more. And you look more like a hero than that you're competing with other agents who tell them constantly, well, I can list it for this and I can list it for this. No, they're going to bring the price down. It's not going to sell for that.
Yep, that's a great point. Yep, thanks, Pam.
And Pam's a multi-millionaire investor in real estate.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know that, she made a lot.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wear the best hat.
And she wears great hats. All right, any other questions? Last call. Come on, anybody, all good? All right, so power sessions every Monday at 10, every Wednesday at 9. I encourage people to plug in. Robert, any quick plug on that? Because Robert is there every single time.
Well, it just makes you aware that you need to produce. And if you need a little inspiration, you can see what other new agents are kicking your butt. So your experience, so you have no excuse.
And accountability, guys. We track our numbers, right? Like that, there's so much value in tracking numbers. And it sounds so simple, and it is. And yet how many people don't do it, and the impact it has on your business is exceptional, period. I don't care who you are. All right, well, thanks everyone for being here. I hope that was insightful. Appreciate all of you guys, and have an amazing day. Make it happen. Take care. That was good. Yeah. I think she's, I don't know how much.